What's going on? What's going on? Another late night live stream, impromptu. Nobody else was live, so um I just I just decided to entertain myself and fortunately entertain you possibly. You know what I'm saying? Like uh I don't really have too much to talk about. I mean, that thumbnail, I just thought it was like a, kind of interesting, kind of funny to a certain extent. Um, I don't really have too much to talk about as far as child support. I mean, that thumbnail is just something that was I, I just needed a thumbnail to put on the video. and and I ended on that, that was pretty much it. But I mean, I I I talk about child support, but not every like I'm not a child support guy. Like I'm not like I don't really have that much to say about child support. I mean, when you out shooting up the club, you know what you're doing. You're going to most likely be hit up for child support. That's just I mean, that just should be like in the back of your mind. Like, what do you think you not gonna be hit up for child support? Like, why would you not be hit up for child support? You end the relationship or y'all both go your separate ways and she just go her separate way without getting you hooked up for child support. I mean, that's not how that goes. Like, it doesn't go like that, unless you have a prearranged situation. It does not go along like this. Unless you have a prearranged situation. All right, I check my audio. Sounds good. Like yeah, like if you believe it or not, like I'll just say this, and this this is kind of like like kind of blew my mind when I figured this out. But for every person that you like, okay, it's like a saying in the older women, like your grandma, your great grandma, they know this saying. They probably even said it. And it's like basically it goes like this. Anything a woman won't do, another woman will gladly do it. You know, and that kind of goes into like, there's an old song. It was it's basically it's called The Cleanup Woman. And the cleanup woman, she does things other women or women that are in relationships won't do. And she's attractive because she is willing to do a lot of things other women won't do. Okay. She comes in, she cleans up the man, and she takes him from another woman. That's the cleanup woman. But the thing is, what I'm saying about why I mentioned the cleanup woman is a lot of things that men complain about as far as women. There's women that'll actually do whatever you want to do. There's women that will probably are willing to do it or want to do it just as much as you want to do it, whatever that is, within reason. And a lot of times what dudes do is they give up to the point where whatever woman they with, they just deal with that woman and um take the nose or the reluctancy to do the things that you want to do and just kind of be a people basically a woman pleaser, pussy pleaser, whatever you want to call it. And then that guys usually end it at that. But it's women that will do exactly um what you want them to do. You just you just haven't found that woman. There's women that are just like you want. Like there's women that, has got the look that you want. They have, the amount of kids or no kids that you want. Usually, it's a situation where, you're looking for a woman with no kids. It's women that fit whatever you're looking for, but a lot of times what guys do is they just give up on the idea of that, and then they just settle for any woman. Any woman will do, um is what guys settle for. And that goes both ways. It's the same thing with women, but the whole point is what I'm saying is there is women that will not put you on child support. It's just guys, they they're not, it's not like most men, they're not selective. And that's what, not, I'm not talking about Rom's Will's um um philosophy on non-select and select men. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about men choosing women. They're not selective. Most men are not selective. Most dudes, like, you know, with me, I mean, like, I've been all over the place. I don't like to brag, but I mean, when I was younger, I mean, I was definitely a player. I had, what it's called now, spinning plates. I mean, like, I remember having, like, multiple women. Just, I'm dealing with them, trying to, you know, like, I mean, just dealing with multiple women in, like, one time. Like, I mean, like, at the end of the day, I just kind of got tired of that. Like, I don't even like talking on the phone. I got to talk on the phone with two or three women. It's just too many tasks, not enough energy. Just, it just gets boring after a while. But at least for me, I mean, but the thing is that I've also turned down a lot of women. I have definitely I have definitely rejected a lot of women. Not a lot, but m- I mean, very much more than probably the average man. Like, average man is probably not gonna reject, especially now, they're not gonna reject a woman. I reject women all the time, like, regularly. Because the reason is I only deal with women genuinely, or I'll just say sexually, unless unless basically I want to get them pregnant. I want to have a family with them. In a sense of, like, I'm gonna take risks. I'm not taking risks with a woman that I don't want to be with. I'm selective in a sense of, like, okay, if the worst hits the fan, I'm okay with the outcome because I've already chose the woman that I'm okay with, the very least mating with. Not saying long term romantic relationship, just at the very least, I'm okay if I have a kid by this chick. You know, like, most dudes don't do that. They're just basically shooting at the hip. They just getting with any chick that they can get on some, like, animal type shit. Like, in a sense of, not a highly intellectual animal as humans are supposed to be. Like, they're not on that level. Like, they're just on a level of a beast. Like, just, basically getting with random women, any woman that they can get, a hold of. And I'm gonna be honest, these types of men, and it's quite a few men that are like that. that they just be outside and they will get like, they'll get with random chicks on a regular. And a lot of these dudes, unfortunately, um they are spreading STDs. These guys are the ones that, you have to watch out to. It's kind of like very similar to a woman that is basically a slut that basically has sex with random men every day or multiple times a day. Like the same thing. I mean, because you're dealing with numbers. Like the more frequent that you're taking sexual risks, the more that you have the possibility of basically catching a STD. I mean, I'm not saying that you can't be out there. I mean, I like I said, when I was definitely younger, I was out there. Like, um, I mean, but the thing is I was mainly using condoms when I was younger. When I was like in my 20s and 30s, I used condoms religiously. But the thing is like, yeah, it's dudes they ain't using no condom. They out here they just, catching catching all kind of packages, and then throwing packages back, and yeah, you got to be very, very careful of women. That's why, the whole thing with whores and sluts and all of that thing is like, yeah, I mean, you know it might seem fun to get what you want, you know, but you got to understand that woman gave somebody else that same access, that same easy access that you're getting. She does this on a regular, and it's like, it's like taking risks. I mean, at the very least, you should get a rubber, like, because your brain has to function to the point where it's like, okay, I obviously got to basically any woman that you just met, you should automatically put a rubber on because you just met this chick. Like, you don't know anything about her. You ain't even like, yeah, you just that's just off top because you ain't got time to get tested or she didn't get time to get tested. You don't know what's up. You gotta, yeah. But see, the thing is like it was a time, this whole condom thing, the condom technology of using a condom is fairly new in the sense of the modern latex condoms. They did use sheep excuse me, sheepskin condoms. Sheepskin condoms, I think, go all the way back to like thousands of years and shit like that. But the modern latex condom, as we know, is like basically less than 100 years old. And that, was invented in America, obviously. I mean, well, not obviously, but it was invented in America. And I mean, basically, people start using them more and more. But the thing is like, before that, people would just people just having sex. I mean, everybody was basically, it was a time basically everybody was going raw. I mean, it was like going raw was the standard. Like, probably I would say pre 1950 America. I mean, the standard was going raw. Like the thing, the problem, the only issues were obviously, um, women would be getting pregnant a lot, um, and then another thing is like, it was people having basically children without, basically getting pregnant. The women were getting pregnant and basically being single moms, like back then, being a single mom was just, it was like almost like damn near a death sentence, because it was just, it was no structure for single moms back then. The standard, it was an embarrassment. It was a black eye. It was just like, you was just shunned back then if you was a single mom. So like it was a lot of, lot of ramifications, but everybody was pretty much going raw. I mean, most people were married. I guess the whole thing was there wasn't any condoms, so you get caught easily. Women get caught. Like that's the thing with women. Like, it's like women can actually get caught. Like in the sense of, all right, you get a woman pregnant, she's basically at that point she's caught. And that's the whole thing with men. Like, men do naturally want to copulate with as many women as humanly possible. Like, but the thing is that when it comes to women, they have to be even more selective because they're the one that is ultimately caught, in a sense of, they have this baby attached to their body, and if they actually want to keep this baby, they don't, they know that it's going to be most likely with, by themselves, because they might not even know the guy. Like, just say in the same situation where it's just like a one night stand, you just met the person, you don't even know who they were, y'all were both horny. Like, yeah, like, she wouldn't a woman in that situation absolutely knows that she's going to be a single mom also, and will not get any help whatsoever financially, because she doesn't even know who her child's father is in the first place to even go by anything. She doesn't, she didn't even, like, I'm talking, you didn't even get the number. You just went in a club bathroom and got it on. Like, yeah. In that scenario, that's like basically you just got a sperm donor, and that's pretty much it. The woman wouldn't know who the father of their child is. Now, here's the deal. Like, I mean, you know, with technology, if a woman really wants to know, she can know. Yeah, like anybody can know anything nowadays. This is not, a sci-fi movie. This is modern. This is 2026. This is modern times. I mean, basically, um, you most people probably already know this, but all you have to do is get someone's saliva or hair sample, any DNA sample from their body, and basically they the this people in the lab, the DNA lab or DNA center, they can trace the DNA from that sample to other DNA matches, and then cross correlate, and then find a next of kin. I mean, like here's the thing, right? And I'm gonna go back to this, but this is a reason why it's a lot of cold case murders, that because basically technology gets easier. I mean, you got to understand, AI is doing some magic, that you don't even know what's going on. Um they could make some type of program or sequence, to basically get matches easier and faster. All kind of shit. Like so, um, basically what was going on is because this DNA matching is getting a lot more like precise and accurate and faster. Um, they're finding basically DNA samples of murderers that basically weren't, I mean, obviously weren't convicted. They didn't know who they were. They just showing up at their house like 50 years later, catching people that, you know, basically got away with murder, you know, before DNA was, you know, is as advanced as it is. They're getting DNA matches and whatnot. And they're literally like, yeah, closing cases on these murders. You know, people like live their whole life 65, 75 years old. They done off someone in 1982, and then they, you know, get a DNA match from some sample that's in a cold case locker or file cabinet or whatever, and they get a DNA match. They match the next of kin and isolate it to um whatever next of kin lived in the proximity of where their murder is. Very simple, you know. You know, very the logic is very, you know, very. I mean, you know, it makes sense. I mean, like, so then they find out who actually committed the crime. Like, um, I man, I mean, just imagine you done kill someone 50 years ago, and you thought you got away with it. You done lived your whole life, you know, you done got corporate plaques at your job and had a retirement party. You getting Social Security and a 401k or whatever, a pension. Maybe you worked a government job, and then you get a knock at your door, you know, you just you just took your third nap of the day in your retirement. You know, at 75, you know, with a federal pension or a corporate 401k with Social Security, and maybe you got a couple rental properties, you know, collecting about 3 grand a month from those properties, and you just living the high life. Your mortgage is paid off, so you don't even have to worry about that. So you just got to pay your tax bill, and you just sitting on cash. You get just sitting on money, and you get a ring at the doorbell. And and you can immediately tell it's a detective. It's not a street patrol, you know, it's not a uniform cop. It's a dude with a badge and a fucking, you know, some office wares, you know, some maybe a suit, you know, a blazer with a fucking you know, some jeans on or some shit, you know. And you like, you at that point you'd probably shit yourself. At the very least, your heart is gonna fall into your stomach because you know what you did 50 years ago, and you just auto match it to this fucking, you know, moment in time. And it's like, yeah, the detectives read everything. Detectives read body language, all of that. You open the door and then you're looking like you seen a ghost. They already know you're guilty just by, I mean, a lot of detectives, a lot of like like it, detective work, part of detective work is actually metaphysical because it's using your senses. Like a detective, they go by body language to kind of, your body language all already to a certain extent um shows guilt. You know, I mean, like, unless you know how to change your body language, which most people don't, Like you'd have to be a trained actor, a spy, or some shit like that to know how to do that. So most people don't have no poker face. So yeah, you just show up, looking like you seen a fucking ghost, pupils dilated, I mean, like, yeah, and you got a couple questions to be asked, and it's like, yeah. You, long story short, you going to jail. You going to jail for some shit you done did 50 years ago because you was high off of acid. You was high off PCP and fucking shrooms and potent marijuana. Cause like I think from what I hear, the marijuana was pretty potent in the 70s. In like the 70s, it was for some reason or another, it was just more potent. But I don't know. I mean, obviously I wasn't back in the 70s, so I wouldn't fucking know. But the thing is like, yeah, you just fucked up. Maybe you had an out of body experience and you just off someone. But whatever happened, yeah, they catching up to these people, man. I be seeing this shit on YouTube. Um, somebody, it's usually it's women and men, mainly white folks. But it's a few black dudes that, yeah, they showed up at their daughter, head full of gray hairs. They done live their whole life. They got grandchildren and shit. Yeah, they come to their door, ask them some questions, and then next thing you know, they showing the video in the interrogation room, and they asking questions and shit. And it's like, yeah, man, the DNA, yep, DNA, man, DNA is that is that's it's a reason. DNA is like, man, like, I mean, it's one of the like major things when it comes to like the legal system that just, I mean, DNA is probably, as far as the value of the actual invention of it, or just, yeah, like the actual value of it, it was probably, I would say, a zillion dollars. I mean, like literally, like, I mean, because you got to understand what DNA has done. Like, how many people have lost their life? Like, they just went away. They went away to just be locked up forever. They done got the death penalty because they got caught. Um, how many men have been on the hook for child support because of DNA? Um, you know, and and even how many women lost out on a lifetime sucker because the DNA showed that the guy wasn't the father. I mean, a lot of them cases I've noticed, it's like by the time the father does try to find out, the damn child is damn near a preteen, if not a teenager. So it's like they done already paid child support, damn near 75-80% of the child support that they would normally have paid, and then the dude finds out, or worse, the guy, it usually be this case when the dude is married to the chick and she was lying, and then he finds out that, couple of them kids, if not all of them kids, is not his. Most of the time, if not often, one of the things that I notice is that it the children are already older, like way older than, I mean, like 5, 6, 7 years old. The youngest, 8 years old, 9. By the time the five, like, by the time the father in question files for some type of paternity or does a paternity test, it's like it's years later. Like it's never, it's never like the baby's a toddler or something like that. Unless it was already something going on in court or something like that. But mainly like for the dudes that be in a marriage or long-term relationship and they raise the children as their own, and then something happens, or you know some the chick gets drunk some one day and cuss the dude out and says the kids are not his, and then I mean whatever happens, like it usually comes late, like real late, where it's like the dude's already invested half of the child's childhood, and raising the kid. He's already got bonds and all of that. It's but yeah, DNA has basically it's like the actual technology and invention is like, I mean, the value of it is just astronomical. Like, I mean, like, just all kinds of, I mean, they could find deformities and possible diseases that you will have. I mean, they could do gene editing and shit like that. It's crazy, but like, yeah, it's man, it's just crazy to really think about, like the world before DNA and then the world after DNA. It's like the woman always knew the children were hers. It was the only possibility, very, very finite possibility that maybe a nurse would switch the baby around, or doctor or whatever, you know, but the mother would, most cases, if not all, would know that child is automatically hers. The father, he had no way other than looking at his actual maybe features matching the children, that those children are his or not. I mean, matching the features it does work. It's a very strong sign. Like, it's kind of like an intuition, a human intuition or something, like, but it's very natural. Like, just like animals can tell who their children are, like they're smart enough to understand who's their children for the most part, like a lion, or you know mammal of some kind. They can kind of tell if those children are theirs for the most part. I mean, um I'm talking about as far as the males. But the thing is like, yeah, that's the same thing. Like, when you see your children and you could see your features, you could see your family members' features, like it's automatic. Like, I mean, it's a, you don't even need DNA. Like, you could just kind of just like, oh, you can see, like, boom, she looks like, she looks like my firstborn. She was looking like my mom, and then she was looking like, I saw my grandfather, like my father in her a little bit, and I was like, oh, okay, and then I mean, it was like, yeah, I knew, and then it's other things, but I talked about that before, but I ain't going, but the thing is like, yeah, like, if those kids are yours just by mainly by features, you know um usually, not all the time, like it's not 100%, but yeah, men didn't know shit. Men didn't know anything about who no children. He was going by the hope that those children was his. Like there was no way for that man to know who those children were, other than if they look like him or not. And then all he can do is drink himself and argue with his wife up and down that them children don't look like him. He couldn't get any evidence to know if who those children were. So now because of DNA you can. And unfortunately, you just gotta think like how many how many domestic like how many literally like basically like family homicides were done because the father found out the children were not his. How many women and even entire families was murdered because the father felt betrayed and he was in his feelings and he just crashed out and then shot up the whole family. I mean, this happened recently. I remember this happening not too long ago, if not last year. The guy found, I think it was like in Texas, he found out that his children were not his. Um, and then he just basically offs everybody in the house, and I think including the children. But see, here's the thing. Like the crazy part is that's how the animal kingdom basically does it anyway. Like they don't necessarily kill everyone, but they kill the kids that are not theirs. They find out the children are not theirs. They just off them because it's basically it's just it's a threat to them. It's this not from their lineage, just from their basically like their enemy. That they just had a fight to the death. Um, yeah, they kill them. They kill them. They kill any children that's not theirs. So I mean, that's an animalistic response that nature has already defined it as such. But people are have brains. They can think, and there's consequences for actions. You can't live, and a lot of times they just off themselves, in the process. But um in the chance that they do get caught, obviously they never getting out of prison, you know. If not, they, get the death penalty in some states. But like, yeah, like um that's because of DNA. That's you know, that's the verbose that was unleashed because of DNA. You know, yeah, like and it's like, women doing that, you think like, oh, these, trifling broads, they deserve that. Um, in a sense, the reason why women do those things, like get impregnated by other men while in relationships with other men and have them raise the children, it's a straight playbook out of nature. Anyways. It's straight from nature. Women are just acting on animalistic urges or desires when they do these things. And when, just, because you should have some type of intelligence to, look for maybe future time orientation to be like, okay, well, this is not gonna end well in the future. And some issues with this in the future. And then, maybe secondly, I took a oath, or or a vow, I'm married and blah blah blah. I have children. I don't, all these things, right? Make a normal decision for a woman to not, get down with another man. And that's the major reasons why, women can't really do what men do, because the second you get pregnant by another man while you in a relationship with another dude, I mean, well, you got to get that dude to take care of you, because he has the children. Those are his children. It's like, all it's kind of like the man that does the impregnating gets all of the responsibilities. And it's like, you foregoing those, putting those responsibilities on someone else, putting all of that strain and, anguish, and it's a lot of stuff, man. Taking care of baby, man, getting up at night, losing sleep, making bottles, changing diapers. It's a lot of rearing that needs to be done to raise any person, normal person. It takes a lot of child rearing to that needs to be done, and it's a lot of energy, but thing is like, yeah, like, the reason that women do that, go get pregnant by other men while in a relationship with another man, is straight, it's straight out of nature. It's a straight nature move. Like, um I mean, women, animals in nature do that. They get pregnant by other men or other males, and then they trick, basically they cheat, and then, like, get pregnant, and then have the long-term partner raise the children, with them, by some other dude, I mean, or other male. And the thing is like, um it's not, that's not certain, lions, they're so protective of their territory that they won't the chances of those lionesses mating with someone else is slim to none, because they have wide territories that, um basically are monitored by the male lions, or if not male lion, to where, I mean, it's chances that the lioness can veer off and mate with other lions, but again, that those offspring, once you find out that those offsprings are not theirs, and they can innately know, just like maybe a, human, that before DNA, just looking off features, um they would know even more, because I mean, they have smell, they have senses that humans don't have. And yeah, it's just, it's the risk is those children, those cubs die because of that. Like, but that, that is usually they don't stray away from the pride. But I mean, yeah, like, you know women are at work, and they got a work husband, and you done had an argument with them, and y'all been beefing for about a couple weeks, if not a month. Her work husband is constantly flirting with her. Yeah, they going out to lunch, and he already, been flirting because that's what work husbands do, right? Bringing, sharing lunches, talking about all kinds of stuff. Y'all ain't having sex because y'all, beefing. It's going on a couple weeks, a month. Next thing you know, her thing get to throbbing at work, and work husband can, pick up, pick up what's putting down. Then next thing you know, they off up in the network room bumping cheeks. And he ain't got no rubber on, by the way. He no rubber on, buddy. Straight barebacking it. Balls deep. Bare, going going, going down, down in the DMs, like, and he ain't stopping till and he ain't pulling out. And she squirming, coming all on his dick, and he nutting all in it. I mean, afterwards, she like, it felt good. She enjoyed it, and she's scared, and she's, intrigued at the same time, and also pregnant at the same time. um, yeah, like now she's, this is, this happens. This happens, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, how many women cheat as far as they, because most people work jobs. Like, let's just say, roughly, I mean, it's just all people in America. I would say probably 95% of the people work jobs, about 95%, that they have to basically separate themselves from their husband, and go somewhere else to work. They don't have a business together or nothing. They separate themselves and they go to their office or wherever they work, and they're around other people, that might also have a husband or wife or whatever at, but the thing is like, you're not there. And I don't know what the percentage of women that cheat, the men, I mean, you'd think possibly, most likely in that scenario, the men are going to possibly cheat more because of opportunity. They're going to probably cheat with a combination of married women and other married women, and then the single women. Okay. They're going to cheat with them. They're going to, have, there'll be a work husband. they'll they'll be they'll be married and be a work husband at their job. I mean, I'm laughing because it's like, damn, this shit crazy, boy. But it's like, it's so many people to do this though. And especially like white dudes. Oh my God. Them white dudes be cleaning, man, the private sector and the public sector like crazy, man. I mean, they, man, there's so many white dudes that be cheating at work. I mean, like, that's why they love their job so much. um, some of them, but yeah, like, I'm not saying it's just white dudes, but a lot of dudes, yeah, they go to work as another opportunity to get with someone else. And it's kind of tripped out, man. It's it's a part of modern society, right? But people are working 8 hours or whatever, even just working away from home, and they're around other people that they can have the opportunity to have sexual access to. And it happens, and the frequency of it happening, I'm not sure. I don't know what the percentage of women that cheat and men that cheat. I would say, if I would have to say, from what I've seen working in corporate America, working in the public sector and the private sector, I would say, at the very least, I would say about probably around 40% of men would definitely be cheating, or would are have cheated. I mean, I've heard, you know, I've heard dudes that been in a relationship, been married to their wife, 30 years, something, 20 years, something, talk about them fucking abroad, from the job. I mean, like, I've overheard these conversations, you know what I'm saying? Like, the dudes working at the same company for like 16 years, and he worked straight out of high school, and he met his wife there, and he just, he knows a lot of different people, and yeah, I mean, just that's what they do. That job is a big part of their life. They indulge in everything they possibly can at that job. Like, I don't know, man. I don't really like to mix sex with work, because, like, the thing is like, you you have the opportunity for that situation to go left very easily. Let's just say everything doesn't work out. Like, let's just say, um the worst case scenario, you try to, you go on a date with her, the chick you work with, and then y'all have a couple drinks, and then y'all have sex, and then the next day she's at HR saying that you raped her after work. You know, I mean, like, that shit opens, like, that opens the door when you start, being, trying to get laid at work. Like, then another thing, it's maybe minor, but let's just say, over the course of the relationship, y'all go to y'all separate ways, but you work with this broad. Ain't no you going your separate way. You seeing this bitch, on fucking Monday and Tuesday. So it's like, I mean, people manage that stuff. I know they do, but it's like, I mean, it's just, the pros don't really outweigh the cons when it come to, like, workplace romance, if you want to call it. Like, it's just too many cons for me, and I usually don't take too many risks when it comes to employment. Like, most of the time, I do need my job. Like, taking risks when it was already a big ass, you know, risk, or a big thing to get the job. Trying to lose it over some shit that you can get outside of your job. it's not worth it to me. It's like, I mean, I ain't talking working in no fucking warehouse. I'm talking, you know, shit, you know, some decent amount of money, at least enough to pay for a mortgage, and some bills or something. Like, I mean, like, that's not something to, like, I don't know. I mean, it's I just don't see, like, trying to take a risk. Like, it's like, if this whatever you make, let's just say you make $100,000. Is this bitch you trying to talk to worth you losing $100,000? Yes or no? And it's like, can you afford to lose $100,000? You make $50,000. Is this bitch worth 50 fucking $1,000? I know $50,000. Whoop de doo. Okay, I get it, right? But even then, is this bitch worth $50,000? No. And it's like, yeah, that question, I mean, I don't necessarily run that shit through my head like that, but it's like, yeah, I just can't afford to be taking all them risks like that. Like, I just, like, yeah, it just ain't, what I'm saying? Just not, I did that shit in boot camp in the military. I was in Navy boot camp taking all kinds of risks. I mean, I don't know why, for example, like that scenario did not work out in the fucking military of all places. Like, you can literally, like, okay, a lot of people don't understand the military versus the civilian world. The military is like joining communism, literally. Yeah, a lot of you motherfuckers talk about communism. Well, the closest thing to it is if you join the actual military, because that is very similar to joining communism in the sense of what I mean by communism. You don't have any fucking say so into whatever you got to do, right? Well, that's very much communism, and that is the military. Okay. Um, if you get caught doing certain things that you do in the civilian world in some office or a courtroom, server room, in the military, in boot camp, of all places, your ass will be thrown in the brig. Like, you'll go to fucking jail. Like, if you get caught, you could be deep stroking your manager in the office and everybody hears you, and then they call security, and you just dismount from your manager, and basically uh they open the door or whatever and catch you in the act banging your fucking hot blonde manager um with some tight cooch. um like, they're just gonna direct you out of the building. You're not going to the fucking jail. In the military, it's even worse. Your ass can go to the fucking, the brig, which is a military jail, for actually, you know, definitely having, yeah. Like, and my crazy ass was risking that, you know, of all places. It is like, yeah, but yeah, like, working, you think like, damn, I'll do that, I risk that in a fucking boot camp. Okay, working a corporate job, what the fuck is that, but I don't know, like, I was a horny bastard back then. 19, I was a fucking, like, shit, before I joined the fucking military, before I joined the Navy, I was literally already, like, living like I was a fucking sailor. Like, I was like, you know, just I was in college and I was just like big man on campus. Like, I mean, um, like I went, yes, because I went to college first, you know, I already had experience. I was a horny fucking bastard. I mean, like I was like fucking damn man. I was shit. Well, I mean, it was a lovely fucking time. Oh, I yeah. I mean, but the thing is like okay, you know, yeah, I was pretty horny. I was taking a lot of risks back then, but I'm not, I'm not 19. I'm I don't have the same. It's no big deal to me as it was like. I just don't. It's just a difference, and I don't really. I'll be honest. I don't know why I would. I guess I definitely was young when I went in the military. When I went into boot camp. I was like 20 years old. Like it was just a lot of shit was just different. I mean, I was 20 fucking years old. Now, if I worked a job, would I be trying to fuck? Like, nah, it's a difference. It's like I don't know what the difference it is of being in the military versus or even boot camp versus uh the civilian world. But for whatever reason, um I was just horny and I don't know. Like it just I mean, imagine, okay, and here's the thing about Navy women too, right? Like Navy women typically are fucking horny too. Like they know what they're doing. They're literally getting on a boat with like thousands of men. I mean, like I'm gonna be honest, like, you know, as far as military women, generally speaking, Air Force women are probably the most like sophisticated. They're freaks. They look good. They look the best. The Air Force women look the best. They're like models, is IG baddies compared to all of the other branches. Second is Navy. Navy women, look better um, than Army and Marine women for sure. But they don't. They don't. The baddies are in the Air Force. But there is baddies in the Navy too, though, because it's like second. It's like second best. It's like number one is the Air Force. They got the most baddies. Second is the Navy. Third is the Army. And then I mean, last would be the Marines. Them badass bitches, the super dykes on steroids with with automatic rifles. I mean, some of them look all right. I mean, they definitely probably like it rough. You gotta imagine they like it rough. I've damn near been with every branch as far as women. I haven't been with a chick. I don't think I've been with a chick that was in the Marines. I have yet to. Yeah, that's the only branch, which is the same branch that I'm in, which is, I mean, the Navy and the Marines is the same, like under the same, like, technically branch. Because the Marines are basically under the Department of the Navy. A lot of people don't know that too. But the thing is, like, yeah, like, for what it's not that many women that are in the Marines, because the Marines technically the Marines is kind of like probably the branch that most people would probably won't join. Like you'd have to be a certain type of person. You'll probably want the Marines will probably be a person that wanted to join the army, but kind of like they wanted to step up their game a little bit because The Marines is more, just say, harder to deal with as far as their boot camp, and than the Army is. They're a little bit more rough and tough than what the Army is. Um, but the Army and Marines do work side by side a lot. They work side by side quite a bit, and they do cross paths. You know, the Marines usually go first, and the Army comes after them. You know, sometimes even literally, but that's a whole nother story. um, but the thing is, um, I mean, like, basically, it's not that many women that join up for the Marines as well. Like, it's just, it's probably, the least desired as far as when it comes to women, the branch that they would want to join. Most would join the Air Force or the Army. You like, black women don't really like, some black women don't like the water, or they have the fear of open water and stuff like that. So they want to join the Navy, and they don't want to have to worry about swimming and all of that. So they won't, they'll just join either the Air Force or the Army. Most black women will most likely join the Army. You know, shit, I've been with so many Army chicks. Oh my god. I had to fucking pause. I had to think about that shit. Oh my fuck. Like, oh my god. Oh my. Oh man, I had a come to Jesus moment. oh, oh wow. Oh god. Oh shit. But but yeah, yeah, workplace romances, yeah, it just, it's a lot to it. But the thing is, like, yeah, going back to women, basically, getting impregnated by, other men besides the man that they're in a, relationship with, right? Monogamous relationship with. um it's like I say, it's an animal instinct. And I mean, unfortunately, some women would, I think it would probably, I mean, if a woman gonna want to cheat, she gonna want to cheat. Like, if a woman has an urge, if you got a woman that, it's some women that are just like kind of nymphomaniacs. They don't have no, like, a lot of sluts, a lot of prostitutes, porn stars, whatever. They're nymphos. The reason why they do what they do, and they're good at it, and they keep doing it, and they doing it in the first place, is because they're, to a certain degree, a nymphomaniac. Yeah, it's a lot of women that are nymphos. Like, they actually get satisfaction out of continuous sexual activity, with, you know not, I mean, non-monogamously, basically. Like, they can, some of those women can be in monogamy, but I think that women that are non-monogamous, or let's just say nymphos, they don't really do well with monogamy. And it's for obvious reasons. Very, very obvious reasons why they, struggle with monogamy. And that's the reason why a lot of modern day women struggle with monogamy as well. The thing is that, uh it's almost like they get suppressed. It's like, you see, a well-mannered pit bull. This pit bull what it's capable of actually doing, but they got it looking like it's just harmless. You know, um, and the thing is like that's what a lot of like because I be on Twitter a lot. Like you know I be on Twitter, man, getting all the beautiful beam footage, uncensored, unfiltered content, and basically you see a lot of stuff when in regards to situations like this where um women, they go cheat on, their significant other, then they, get pregnant by the person, by the dude, and then, they come back and try to get, continue the relationship and pretend that they got pregnant by the dude that they're in a relationship with long term and, put on the whole act, you know. Um, and then basically the dude finds out about it and they salty because the dude they got pregnant by, that was just a short fuse that they wanted to ignite. That was like, maybe either, it depends. Some women, they might have had, it is women that have outside um boyfriends in a marriage. Yeah, yeah. It is it's it's more common than men really would like to admit. That situation of what I'm just said, like, is women that have outside boyfriends that are in marriages. Like, I mean, that shit is. I mean, like, dudes wouldn't even probably if dudes knew how common that actually is. Dudes wouldn't even want to get married. They might even join MGTOW or become a passport bro. So it is more common like that. It's some you got to understand. You got women that they have husbands that might be to a certain degree. Let's just say a super simp, a regular simp. I mean, because you got different types of simps. You got super simps, you got regular simps, you got extreme simps. And it's like you got women that are in relationships and they know what they're doing. And this is very much common. This is very common. These women, some of these women, they listen to me. They're listening to what I say or whatever, and they're in relationships with these simps because the simps basically he wouldn't even care if what she's doing outside of his presence. It's even dudes that because you got to understand it's different levels to simping. Like, okay, an extreme simp would be a cuck. No, hands down, a extreme simp obviously is a cuck, right? Because a cuck literally gets off or doesn't matter or enjoys or whatever the fuck letting his woman get fucked by other men. And even to extreme cases, will let the, you know, guy, I think they call them bulls, impregnate his fucking wife. I mean, like, that's an extreme simp, right? Like, it's it's women that will get with simps in order to do whatever they want to do. And that might be just fucking other dudes. And it might be even getting pregnant by them and then coming home to the simp. And he's because you got to a certain extent, you got to understand basically the core of a simp or a core of a simp in a nutshell. At his very core, what a simp believes in his core is that woman is more valuable than even him. And then even in some cases, it's almost God level or goddess level. He damn near worship it, you ever heard this? He worships the ground she walks on. Like, you got dudes that are on that type of time. Like, I mean, like, they might even have a woman that look good. And they never had a woman that looked good. Like, see, I've had women that look good before. So I mean, I I've been with a woman that was like a mesmerized, like everywhere you went, everybody looking at her. Like I mean, she basically, it's some women that they look so good, they're like mesmerizing. Like they can literally put people in a trance because they look so fucking good. Like everybody just will focus in on them. My cousin, she's basically an actress, model. I mean, all kinds of things like, and she's like that. When she comes around, people just stop and stare. Whole couples just stop and just are like she's like a magnet to people. Like they just focus in on her. And um some dudes they get with women like that and they'll kill a motherfucker. They'll kill other men just to try to get them to mate guard them from getting with her. Yeah, it's some dudes that they like that. It's dudes that are like that with mid chicks, ugly chicks, below mid chicks, fat women. They just like that. That's how they are. You know, um, so you got that's the core makeup of a simp. The simp, his core is that woman is just so valuable, she can do whatever she want to do damn near to a degree. Obviously to the extreme simp being a full cuck with sitting in the cuck chair with a motherfucking cage on your fucking dick and everything. I mean, cleaning up, all that. I mean, I mean, I mean, obviously I watch too much. You know what? But you get the point. I mean, like that's what chicks get, man. They get with these dudes, and it's a lot. Like America is like a simp factory for whatever reason. It's obviously propaganda, it's obviously psyop level, but America is like a breeding ground of simps. And the average man in America is a simp. The standard of an American man is to be a simp. Will you agree with me, yes or no? I would say so, that the standard man in America is in his core is being a simp to some degree or another. I would say maybe a simple simp would just, he would kind of, he wouldn't be full fledged into her. He might say something, he might, give her pushback here and there, and eventually it'll grow because what eventually happens, simps just they can only take so much and then they just explode. And then, it could get violent. It could just get to the point where, he just, leaves the relationship, go gets a divorce lawyer and get up out of there. Typically that's what goes on, right? Just has enough. he gives her an ultimatum, and then it's over with, right? Because I mean, then maybe he, gets try to, I don't know, whatever path, maybe go red pill, whatever. Maybe just continue to try to get another woman or whatever. But the thing is like, it's guys, man, that it's just basic dudes that are just nice guys, but it's they don't they're some dudes are, I think just people in general are just so nice that they kind of people take advantage of them, and they don't know how to um pick up verbal, they don't know how to pick up cues, they don't know how to, they're like they're like nice and also naive, like to a certain, like my mom was like that, like she was nice, but she was also naive, which was very dangerous. You can get in, it was, I mean, you just don't want to be in those situation, like almost a person that is nice and naive is almost, it's like you get targeted a lot. Like people try to take advantage of you, and take money from you. And that was a common thing with my mom. Like it was just people just trying to take advantage of her because she was, just too nice, and a lot of times naive to a certain extent. Like, but the thing is like, you know, when it comes down to it, like, some, I think some men are also like that, like they're just kind of nice and naive, and to the point where it's deadly, that because women will manipulate men that are like that, you know because you one, you don't know what she's doing, and you're just being nice, and she's basically taking advantage of you, and it gets worse, and it gets worse, and it gets worse, and the thing is like, um it's all right, I think, to be nice, but not to be naive. Like, because if you're naive, you're just letting people take advantage of you. You don't have any standards, or you don't have any you know limits when it comes to people, what they do and all of that. Like, I mean, most people, I would say, will probably take advantage of you to a certain degree or not, if you are like that. Women the same, and you're gonna have some people that won't. I mean, like, I'm not the type of person I'm trying to take advantage of somebody. Like, I mean, like, I just don't roll like that. Like, and I think it's bad karma to a certain degree if you do things like that. Like, people try to do that to me, and I cut people off, I block people, I don't answer calls, all kinds of shit, because it's just, yeah, like, I ain't no fucking Vic, you know, the fuck. Um, I just, keep it street, keep it, straight, and straight to the chaser. Like, I'm not looking for no friends, especially like dudes. I get annoyed when dudes be, I be on Facebook and shit, man. I be my fucking uncle fucking messaging me, and college friends, and this dude, I ain't talked to in years. This other, I'm like, man, I'm so tired of these fucking hard legs in my fucking inbox, man. When I get a female fucking messaging me, man, oh my god, man, man, I mean, that's worth probably a 100,000 a million messages from some fucking dudes, man. I mean, it's like, what the fuck, man? You know? But it's like, yeah, like, I mean, it's the thing is like, it's it's just it's a dangerous game, man. When you think about, um, how many dudes out here, are like this, where they just nice and naive, and then women just manipulate them. It's a lot of men that are like that. It's even women that are like that. Um, and the thing is a lot of women, they have their pick of men that they can choose like that. They have their pick. It's like it's a smorgasbord of men that will simp out. I mean, people called, they Chud the Builder called, he talking about black people's calling them chimp out. Even though the fucked up, the tripped out thing about the whole chimp theory when it come to black people or whatever, or apes. And it's like, okay, last time I checked, like, I mean, white people didn't create themselves. They came from black people, right? So if 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 I'm a chimp, you're an albino chimp. And that's the thing that I always trips me out about the whole chimp thing, because it's not like white people morphed out of thin air and they created themselves. I mean, they literally came from basically the Eve gene, which is basically some dark humanoid, Africanoid um human that lived like millions of years ago, was found on the Horn of Africa, um that all mankind sprung forth. I mean, like, what about all of that? What I'm saying? It's like they throwing science out of the window, and you know, but the whole thing, the whole tripped out thing is, as far as simping, yeah, people, a lot of simps simp out. I mean, simps simp out every day, you know, simp out. You know what I'm saying? Um, and women, they have, I don't know, like, they have so many simps. I mean, I will say men are, it's less men. Like, I do believe that it's a lot more simps that have, you know, shorted out their simp chip. Because I just called it, I got that from, I think, the, like, somebody, I don't know where I got it from. I think BGS, or I don't know, but yeah, like, the simp chip, it is there, but deactivating it, you got to deactivate the motherfucking simp chip. Like, if you got it, like, I mean, and it's like, no, women are not more valuable than you. Actually, they're less valuable. Um, if you looking, I mean, I'm looking at it like chess. I mean, I'm a chess guy. I mean, women are a sacrifice. At the end of the day, if you have to, you can use them as a sacrifice. You know, um, the king ultimately, takes the last and ultimate sacrifice. I mean, because usually, that's what checkmate means. It means basically, basically the king is dead. Um, so yeah, I mean, the thing is yeah, like, women are, sacrifice basically at the end of the day. And I mean, it's like, that might sound chauvinistic and misogynistic or whatever, but when you're, if your daddy didn't tell you, and kind of read to you and maybe even showed you some stuff out of the Bible or the Quran or whatever, and basically just kind of educated you on who you are and you know what you are capable of and so on and so forth. And it's like if you didn't see an example of that, you probably will be a certain level of a simp, to a certain degree or not. You know, um, a lot of men that have been raised by their moms without male interaction, like a lot of them by default, they're gonna be a simp very much. It might be a simp that's weird. It might be like you might have it might be a thug simp or whatever, but they're gonna be a simp nonetheless. A lot of times it's like but they don't have any other choice. So you gotta understand, like, we have a society that's creating newer simps. Like the simp factory is still going strong, but it's like it's morphing into something crazy to the point where because you got a lot of women that they don't necessarily want a simp. They be their thought of a simp is yeah, you know, like I don't fuck up my gene pool, get out of here. Like they don't want a simp. They stay away from simps. They're not trying to take advantage of them. They don't want them. It's a select group of women that they seek out simps. A lot of women that seek out simps is, I mean, because a lot of times it's not the simp doesn't he doesn't get like first dibs usually. He doesn't get first dibs, so he's going behind other men. So he'll get with a single mom, he'll basically get with a chick that's basically a slut. He'll get with damn near any woman, you know, and it's like certain women that just want to have, maybe they got some kids and or maybe they want to someone to take care of them because they want someone to have some means to take care of them. And then they know they want to have other men on the side. They might even already have another man on the side. And, basically that's going to be their primary partner. And they're going to get primarily pregnant by that man. And then you're going to raise the children. you know, like, I mean, it's certain men that probably wouldn't even question that. They wouldn't have too many problems with that scenario in the sense of like if they found out they'll say something, it'll be a big deal, but they wouldn't even probably even get like look into it. It's some guys, man, that they so much of a simp, like that it just I don't they just happy to have a woman. Like it's like dudes, man, that just be happy to have a woman, man. I mean, it is what it is. Like, I mean, I get it. I trust me, I know. I get it. I've been, but the thing is, like, you gotta have some type of strong spiritual connection, you know. If you got a strong spirit, it's almost like having a light within you, right? Like if you have a strong spirit, you can you can go with like periods of where you might be by yourself, you might be going through some struggle, whatever the case may be. And it's like if you don't, I don't know, if you have like a weak spirit, or if you just, I don't know, whatever situation of life you're in, I don't know, like um you might, I don't know, you're lonely, so you want to be in a relationship with a woman so bad, or you so horny, you want to be in a relationship with a woman so bad. Like, I mean, it's like, it was a time that I let those urges kind of control me. Like, I really like that really put me in a situation to where I was like, okay, not because I was lonely. It was never I was lonely. It was the, kind of having sexual access thing. I would just, and as long as I can keep sexual access, I'll put up with some shit. I'll put up with some problems or, some red flags, and it's like, yeah, like that's what a simp would do. That's simp behavior. You know, I mean, you don't necessarily have to put up with anything. Like, but yeah, like that's what simps think. Like that's a simp mindset. Like, yeah, I'm gonna put up with all of this bullshit, and then just kind of take what I can get. And the thing is it's different degrees of dudes that simps. It's dudes that's just because a dude is a simp doesn't necessarily make him like a wimp or nothing like that. It's alpha males that's in relationships where they simping out on women. I'll tell you one example. What is that dude that, yeah, he was a boxer. Um the I forgot dude name. He had the meme, the soundbite video where he said, we've been we've been fighting for 4,000 years or 400 years, something like that. Um he fought Tyson Fury. I forgot his name. I remember the name Tyson Fury. Um I forgot the dude name, the black dude name, the boxer. But basically, he's an example. This dude is definitely an alpha male, but he still was a simp. He was simping out. This dude got with a single mom. She was fine. She was fine. He got with her, and like basically, I think something to I think he was putting his children, or he had put her her stepchildren. I mean, her children, which would be his stepchildren, like like put, I guess, like made him biologically the dad, or you know like basically adopted the kids or something like that. And then he basically got slammed with child support in the end, divorce and child support or something like that. I don't know if they were married, but like basically he basically got the woman, you know, basically put the clanks on his accounts um after the relationship expired. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he gave his story of what he did, and it was basically simp tales, simp stories of simpish shit that I was doing. Like, he was, I mean, he basically got with a chick with, a bunch of kids, and, you know, took care of her and took care of the kids. And I mean, basically in the end, she basically was, I don't know what, I don't know if she was stealing his money, or, I mean, something was going on or whatever. She was doing some foul shit behind his back, and it's like, yeah, this dude's supposed to be an alpha male, but he's still a simp. because simping is mental, primarily mental. It's like almost damn near a mental illness, I want to say, but I mean, not really. It's just, I mean, I guess to a certain degree it is. But it's like something about you're not thinking properly. You don't know, like your your brain doesn't compute the way a normal man, let's just say a normal guy, just a normal guy that's not a simp. He's a balanced man. Let's just say he's a balanced man. He's a balanced man, right? Um, he's not a simp. He doesn't overvalue women. He doesn't, take let women take advantage of him and all of that type of shit just to get sexual access or get anything. Like, yeah, so I mean, you know, it's a lot of guys that are like that. I mean, but for every one guy that's like that, you know, there's 100 simps. I mean, so the simps, it's so many simps that it's like, that's partly the reason why we have the society that we have right now. Um, it was basically a situation to where it was an imbalance in society. Is an imbalance in society, and women didn't know this was gonna happen. Like, men didn't know, women didn't know, right? They didn't know the consequences of basically what they were doing as far as being a single mom and having sex freely with whoever they want to have sex with, without the concern of a long-term relationship, and all of that, and raising the children with the father of your children, all of that was thrown out of the window. But they didn't think long term. They didn't even know what was going to be long term. But what happened, like, it's like what happened was, well, the basically the after effects of that was you have single mom raised households of children that basically have characteristics, behaviors, and are socialized a certain way that are different than normal kids. Just behaviors of what they do on a day-to-day basis is normally different than a child that is raised in a two-parent household, strong masculine father, feminine mom. And the thing is that um the characteristics of children that are raised in a single mom households is to a certain degree abnormalities, as abnormal usually. That's why you can basically, and I did this when I was a teacher. I was a teacher for the Chicago public school system. I was a computer teacher, and I had the children. I was working on the west side of Chicago, and I had all of the children. I said, raise your hand if your mother and father, if you live in a household with your mother and father. I didn't even say that your mom are married or anything. Raise your hand if you live in a household with your mother and father. About the whole classroom, it was about, to give example, it was about 50 children. They were like in sixth grade, or they were like in fifth or sixth grade. And the children that raised their hand were like, it was about probably like 14 kids, 12 or 14 kids. And those, one of the things that I instantly noticed about the kids that raised their hand, those were the kids that gave me the least problems. Like literally, they gave me the most respect and the least problems. All of the like rowdy gremlins, the gremlin kids that was giving me the most problems to a certain degree or another, they were the children that didn't raise their hands. And when they realized, and they were smart, these smart kids, right? They're smart children. They realized what I was asking. they got they got down to the brass. Like a lot of them had an aha moment. They knew what I was getting at. They realized the kids that raised their hands were the good kids. it's like it's like you literally had a classroom of okay, you had the gremlin, you had in the movie Gremlins, um you had I forgot the name of the that's so fucking long ago. It's like, the 80s and shit. Um damn man. I'm not gonna look that up, but the main character, or the main like like the gremlin, that basically, if you fed him after dark or gave him water, um the he would morph out gremlins. He wasn't a gremlin himself, but he would morph out gremlins if you fed him too late, or gave him water, or put water on him or whatever. And basically, like, they basically gave him food and water late at night, and then he morphed gremlins. And then once the gremlins come out, then they start making more gremlins. And the thing is that these children grew up, and they gave a lot of hell to society. Like they they gave society a lot of fucking problems to deal with. And basically, I'm looking up the fucking Gremlins Wikipedia. This is fucking crazy. Oh my fucking god. Oh man. But yeah, I mean, you created. I mean, you got something. Okay, you made single mother raised households a standard, and especially in the black community, right? Like in the black community, this was common, right? Um, so basically, you have two households. You got a household of children that are adults that were raised in a two-parent household. You know, then you have adults that were raised in a single mom household. They're adults now. They're in the same dating pool. They're mixing it and matching it up. So then you got single mom raised men getting with women that are was raised in a two-parent household, Then they, you know, all of a sudden have made them a baby mama. Now they're a baby. Now they got converted to being a baby mama now. Then then you got women that are looking to be the next baby mama, basically getting with men that were raised with a two-parent household, converting him into a baby daddy. He could basically, you got women, and this is very common in the black community. This is normal in the black community. You'll have a woman that's raised in a two-parent household. She'll go out and get with a basically a single mom raised black dude, and then get converted into a baby mama. Her mom was a wife. She gets she gets like, this is like, I would make a video game of this. I would turn this into a video game. I swear to God. Like, be like fucking, I don't know, like, you know, convert her to a baby mama. be like be like Narc or some shit. Walk down, you know, converting chicks into baby mamas. I mean, like, nah. I mean, I'm cruel. I'm very dark. My humor is, I have very dark humor, but the thing is like, that's what happened. I've seen it happen. I shit hell. Probably you can say it happened to me. Fuck it. Um, yeah, and you know the same thing. Like, you know, single mom, raised woman, couple kids. She throw that pussy on you. You throw that shit at your ass. You catch that shit. You catch that shit like motherfucking what's that dude that got shot in the club? Uh, from the New York Giants. Damn, I forgot dude name. Damn, I forgot dude name that got shot. You know, and then you know what I'm saying, you catch that motherfucker with one hand. You know? I mean, like, you know, then now you know, now you got a, you know, kid with her. Now you a baby. Now you a baby daddy. You know, he like, how the fuck did I get here? You know, yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is, you know, this is what's happening, and then what's going on in the process is children are being born in this abnormality, this abnormal world, right? This abnormal society, right? And then it's more abnormalities on top of abnormalities. So like, basically, um everybody trying to get with everybody, and it's just like, okay, it's kind of like, you know, the abnormalities are like kind of cancerous cells, and you get a cancerous buildup, and then next thing you know, the organs, it's like they start to, you know, kind of consolidate, and you know, the cancer just eats at the organs. That's what typically happens. It's like from a parasitic infection, like, and basically that creates this situation to where it just kind of like fucks up the natural order of things. Like, the natural order got fucked up. You know, it's like, you know, basically the natural order of, you know, the traditional marriage, even to be honest, it's, you know, from, I mean, this country is, you know, you know, Christian origins of this country has, you know, to a certain extent, Christian origins, as far as, you know, as far as the Europeans conquesting, right? um that has, you know, it's a correlation with the drop of marriage, with the drop of the going to, like, basically people have just stopped being religious, basically. and it's a correlation with the drop in marriage and that drop in religion. So it's not like they're dropping a religion. It's not like they're dropping Christianity and picking something else. I mean, some of them maybe are, but they're just not being religious at all. And basically it's kind of, I think it's going back to a level where it's gonna be like kind of wild. It's gonna be savage. That's why you kind of already kind of seeing the signs of it. But basically, it's gonna be like a savage world. Kind of maybe to akin to um something like sci-fi movie, like uh I mean, like just any apocalyptic movie you can think of. Like, I mean, it's just gonna, it's just people just gonna be more savage. Like, it's just gonna, the world is, if you notice, the world is kind of getting more savage. I mean, in America's already getting that. Like, America's already there. Like, you already kind of like, I'm cooking, man. I'm like preaching and shit, man. Man, I mean, god damn, I'm on the pulpit, man. Cause like I really don't be taught, like, I'm kind of like telling you to a certain extent, like, I mean, kind of the things that I've been thinking about, things that I had, kind of run by my thoughts and stuff. But like, um, oh, the main character is a Magui. But here's a tripped out thing, and I'm talking about as far as Gremlins. Here's the tripped out thing. See, they didn't tell us this shit, right? So the the league, the basically the character that spawns Gremlins is called a Magui. It's called a Magui. I mean, basically, um, they called him something else. I just can't. I can't. Oh, Gizmo. Yeah, Gizmo. That's what they called him, Gizmo. So Gizmo. He spawned. He spawned gremlins. If you feed him after dark and you give him water. But see, what they didn't tell us was Magui in Cantonese means devil. I mean, like, that's crazy, bro. Like, they didn't tell us that shit. Magui in Cantonese means devil. But I mean, like, yeah, so, like, yeah, like, that's kind of what's happening, man, where, I mean, I am, I know people that have been raised by a single mom, like, I'm basically calling them gremlins. I mean, to a certain extent, it is kind of like that. Like, it's like a whole bunch of gremlins will spawn. And I'm not just talking about the black community. I'm talking about across the entire America. Like, I mean, it's not like just, the black community has single moms and that's it. Like, single moms is, I mean, single mom was such a big thing that the white people started to create a fucking reality behind it with reality shows. They started to create reality shows called 16 and a Mom, or Pregnant and a Teenage Mom, or some shit. Like, they just wove it into the society, but the thing is like, um it's it's a thing within all ethnic cultures. I mean, the thing is like that those the outcome of that. I mean, I'm not saying that all single moms are equal either. You got good single moms and you got bad single moms. You know, a good single mom can actually produce good children that maybe necessarily are not gremlins, right? Um, I would say by default, most single moms produce gremlin raised children. And these are, you know, throughout Chicago and Memphis and all these areas where there's just, you know, nigger hell, you know, bunch of people killing each other and high poverty and, you know, heavy crime, violence, you know, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that's definitely gremlin activity. But the thing is this, you know, it is some single moms that they do the right thing, like they actually can raise children that are, you know, sound and healthy. Like for example, single moms that they know they got enough understanding that their children need to have some type of balance of men around them. I mean, um they'll find their daughter and their son a male mentor, or they might lean on they might have their father as a grandfather, and make sure he kind of comes around them and give them some type of presence, and they have some type of male masculine energy around them. Um, the women that do that, yeah, like, yeah, get them get them a martial art, you know, basically get them a senpai or whatever, to learn martial arts, from. Um, yeah, that's gonna help. That's gonna that's gonna balance them out. You gonna have some. You probably in that scenario, if it goes well, um, if the senpai doesn't you know abuse the children, um, you have pretty strong balanced children that will compare even better than some children that are raised by both parents. They'll be kind of advanced. You know, they've been raised. They've been brought up in jujitsu since they were 7 years old, and it went all the way to high school. Now they're like a purple belt or brown belt in jujitsu. Yeah, you got to train. You got a young trained warrior at that point. So pretty good kid. And what I'm saying, that's all pretty much a single mom really would have to do, in a sense of get that boy involved with some masculine. I mean, the boys are a lot easier if they did that. You know, the daughters a little more difficult, because when you have women around men, especially post-pubescent teens, um, around men, I mean, it just opens the door a lot of times to vulnerabilities, to where the possibility of a sexual assault of some sort will be it just be very, very much heightened or high, to a point where um it just a lot of times the young girl in the scenario of the single mom, it kind of has it the worst. If, let's just say, the father is not around at all, she has it the worst, because um I mean, she can't, for women to get, basically, um because it's so many men, is it just so horny, it just so sexually focused so much that it is so much sexual energy that it's just like, yeah, the sad thing about single, like, being like raising children with no father or whatever, when it comes to young women, they really a lot of times don't have no outlet. If it ain't someone from their father or their grandfather or uncle or someone, or at the very least an older brother, they just, I mean, it's really sad for them because getting that externally from another man is almost, where that man is not gonna victimize them to a certain extent, or at least wait to victimize them. Like, okay, I'll tell you why I said wait. So, and I don't know the true story of this, but as far as if he even waited, but it was a dude that when I had my computer shop, it was a guy that used to work for me. That he was basically an ex police officer, and he worked for the city of Chicago, and his brother worked security. He was a police officer too. And he worked security at a school, at a high school, and he knew some of the, some of the kids he knew, in high school, and one of the kids he noticed was struggling, and she told him what, and this the guy's brother. He's at the high school. He's worked security, and she told him that he, basically she was basically homeless. What something was going on with her mom, and it was like some Lean on Me type shit. It's like if you seen the movie Lean on Me, it is kind of like, that chick that was, kind of had the frizzy hair. She was in the show A Different World too. Like, she was in a highly desperate situation with living with her mom. Like, it was like one of them type of situations, and you know, um, this probably happened in the '80s. Probably happened in the '80s or late '70s or '80s. Um, he he took the young girl home. He basically, I don't know how he was able to do it to be unnoticed by the campus or the school, because it's like, how would how would I mean, I guess they would go to school at the same time, but I wonder how he was able to do it and not be, I don't know, not be seen, or maybe people look the other way. I don't know, but for whatever reason, he he was raising her. She was like 16. She still had like a year or two left in school. So I don't know how that worked out, but like, he took care of her for a couple years. She eventually finished high school, finished college too. And then at some point, I don't know, like, I mean, according to him, according to the guy that worked for me, he waited till she got, like, done till she got 18, or at least, or whatever. But eventually he did end up marrying her. They had kids. But I mean, this what happened. Kind of like, kind of on some, like, it's not worse than the Muhammad story, the Prophet Muhammad story, marrying, I think, Aisha or something. Like, but, or I think it was Khadijah. No, I think it was Aisha. But the thing is, it's like, it was definitely on some that director. I think it was not Andy Griffith, not Andy Griffith, but I think I forgot that he's a New York, really oddball like New York director. Um, I forgot his name. I'm terrible with names, especially at night. Um, he basically he basically raised his wife from birth, like literally, like he. It's like you growing a fucking turnip in the garden from seed. Not necessarily from seed. They basically his wife, him and his wife. I think his name is Andy Warhol or something. I forgot his name. But basically, he him and his wife adopted a girl, I think from like southeast from Vietnam or somewhere, and they raised a child that was his adopted daughter, and basically he raised her just like his own, and then when she turned, she got of age, they start getting it on. Like, I mean, I don't know when he got it on, and a lot of comedians joke about it. It's like, I mean, you married your adopted daughter, so it's like it begs the question. So at age, 2.5, when you're taking her a bath in her little bath, thing, for toddlers, are you checking out her, private parts and shit, or what are you doing? Like, I mean, when did your attraction, like, when when did your attraction start in your I mean, you're basically your daughter, your adopted daughter, that's now your wife. When did the attraction start? Like when y'all picked her out of the adoption agency? I mean, when it is, I mean, so it's very weird, okay? Very, very weird, very grim, I would even say. Um, very fucking weird. Um, fact it's even legal is, even, I don't know, but very fucking weird. But um it's, I mean, that situation is way worse than, okay, she's like, let's just say 15, and she needs a place to live, and she goes as a security guard, and he works out something to where, she, get he got a house, and um he got like an extra room he ain't using with a couch, and sets her up with the couch temporarily, and then eventually sets her up with a bed and basically takes care of her. And it's like, I mean, I don't know, like, where did the romance start? I mean, like, when did you start? I mean, like, because I don't know. I mean, allegedly, from the older the other brother, the brother that worked for me, you know, he said he didn't start doing the shebang with her right away. He said he waited till they got like till she graduated high school. That's what he said. But I don't know. That might be some shit to just, classy it up, like, but I don't know. Me, I mean, in the end, he did marry the woman. They had children. It was a happily thereafter story. Now, feminists or hardcore man hating feminists will be like, it's no happy ending. What the fuck did you talking about? He needs to be thrown under the fucking jail. He needs to be put on a firing squad. You know, how do you know he didn't do anything to her until she blah 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 blah? I mean, I don't know, but the thing is, I mean, I look at it as a happily thereafter story because, I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, it just, you know, I don't know, man. I know that sounds creepy because it's like, okay, would I want my daughter to have that scenario? Like, I mean, no, you know what I'm saying? But things can happen. I mean, life can happen. And then, next thing you know, one thing led to I mean, but the thing is like, yeah, I wouldn't want that to happen. Like, okay, the another thing, it's kind of like you gotta pick your bad, right? Okay, you only got two bad scenarios. You already gave you bad scenario one. The would you want your daughter to be homeless and then crying to a security guard, and then he basically giving her some type of rest haven and taking care of her, you know. Um Whatever he does, he does. You don't know if he does it or not. He just That's the situation. Or bad, still bad, her being homeless on the street and getting picked up by a pimp, and the rest. Next thing you know, she's walking around with a bikini and a fur on a hoe stroll somewhere in Chicago, either on the south side or west side. Most likely on the west side, I would say, if I had to put a guest. But yeah, like, they're both bad scenarios. Which one would you be okay with? You have to choose one. They're both bad scenarios. And this is how, some people are able to think like this. And unfortunately, I do think, like, yeah, I mean, there are situations that they're both bad. Like, I think it's called in the Star Wars, Execution 66 or something like that. Like, they're both bad scenarios. But here's the thing, like, one is, to me, is like really, really bad. Like, being a fucking prostitute, getting hooked up with a gorilla pimp, a Chicago gorilla pimp. And just in case you don't know what a gorilla pimp is, I know some most likely, if you're non-black and you're listening to me, you most likely will not know what a gorilla pimp is. Um, it's basically a pimp that is extremely, kind of like, you think of a gorilla, is extremely aggressive, and it's a very aggressive form of, like, almost animalistic form of pimping. Basically a super aggressive pimp. I'm talking about a pimp that probably, he ain't just with one smack. He's smacking one chick. He's smacking two chicks at the same time with one smack. I mean, that's like a gorilla pimp. Like, I mean, he's smacking two hoes with with one smack. Like, I mean, like, he aggressive about every fucking thing. He aggressive about his money. He aggressive about every fucking thing when in regards to pimping. And that's the worst type of pimp that a woman could get a hold of. Um, but the thing is, it's like, yeah, that's the scenario. Your daughter, you know, what would you like to happen? You're no longer here, whatever. Her getting with the security guard, or being homeless on the street, getting caught up with a gorilla pimp named um Mike from the west side of Chicago. I mean, I'm, again, maybe my soul is a little dark, and I have dark humor, and it's just, I laugh because I mean, it's just. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm a little dark. I just, know. But the thing is that this is reality. Like, they're both bad scenarios. You know, and I mean, to a certain extent, a lot of people are in situations or have had to choose situations to where either way is just a bad scenario. Especially if you don't have a lot of money, or if capital is very much an issue in your life. If capital has ever been an issue in your life, or is an issue in your life, you've already had to made bad, basically choose two decisions that were just basically both bad. It was just one was maybe slightly less bad than the other. And it's not like, okay, because it's like basically in scenario two, basically being crying on the sitting on the sidewalk, on the edge of the sidewalk corner, because you homeless, and then Gorilla Pimp Mike roll up in a tricked out Cutlass with 20-inch rims. um that woman, that young woman is gonna have to do a whole shit ton of security guards, you know, in probably just 1 year, trying to get money for Gorilla Pimp Mike. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's one's it just it sucks. But that woman, whoever she is, I could probably uh I could find out. Could I find out who that person actually was? It would be fun. It would be almost impossible. Because the links of the person is probably no longer here. Um, of like the dude's brother or whatever. I mean, the guy that told me the story about his brother, he's most likely he was sick. He was real sick when he was working for me, so it's safe to say most likely he is no longer. He's it's been like almost 10 years. I mean 20 years, close to 20 years. He's probably gone, and it wouldn't be no way to. I mean, because you got all of these high schools, and then you have to go back. It just be damn near impossible to connect who that actually was. Like, I mean, like I wouldn't even do nothing like that because it wouldn't even make any sense. It just be wasted time. But I mean, again, those are both bad scenarios. Like, it wasn't that I mean, like, the tripped out thing is that scenario of her going home with the security guard was the best scenario that she had. That was the best outcome that could be possibly that goes down in that situation. Because let's just say option two, or is it option three, that she didn't have to get involved with the Gorilla Pimp. She went to um the Department of Children and Family Services, is what it's called in Illinois. Um, okay, she didn't necessarily have to worry about Gorilla Pimp Mike, but she gets a foster parent that is basically a child abuser. you I mean, it's like, I mean, I would even say it's kind of crazy, but even that scenario is probably better than dealing with Gorilla Pimp Mike. But it's like it's definitely way worse than also even you know going home to live with the security guard at 15 or 16. Your mama, passed away, or she's sick, or she kicked you out the house, or whatever happened in that scenario to where she was crying to that security guard, her scenario, and she needed help. Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it. Like, it's kind of messed up, but I mean, the only thing that could possibly have happened, and let's say the dude actually didn't touch her till she graduated high school, like the night of graduation, on her 18th birthday or whatever. Let's just say, for fantasy purposes, that that her graduation date and her birthday was at the same time that she turned 18, and then they got it on then. So he technically waited either 2 years or 3 years. That will be the most angelic situation to have happened. And I do believe that that actually did happen. I don't know. I mean, maybe it did. I could see that actually happening. I mean, because it's some guys that, in men with kids, or even, let's just even say, you got nieces. I forgot what it's called psychologically. But there's a certain emotional chemical reaction that, like men that have fathers, or men that are fathers, they have this chemical in some, and this goes in, I'll get to the abnormalities, but I mean, you could already understand where I'm going with that, or where that could go once I finish talking about this. Is that it's a certain chemical reaction that is standard, pretty much standard with men, especially men that have children, um, that they don't have any sexual attraction to their children. This same thing goes with maybe possibly cousins to a certain degree or another. Definitely your siblings. And it's just like something that just turns your sexual urges off to a certain degree. And of course, obviously, people that might have abnormalities or whatever, the way that they think about things, they might bypass that and then actually do sleep with their sisters and their cousins and their children and all that goofy shit. Like, yeah, those are the people, the sick fuckers, that need to be, taken out, in a 30 six. But I mean, this country supports is actually this country actually is safe for men like that. So they'll continue doing it. Other countries, you'll lose your life. Like Saudi Arabia, yeah, they'll they'll either hang you by crane. I think that's what they do a lot of times. They have cranes where they just put you on a rope, and then they basically hold the crane up, and then they hang you. They just do public hangings. I don't know if they cut the head off. I don't know what to cut the head off or whatever. I'm pretty sure they probably still cutting heads off. Um, but I don't know. They might just do um hanging. I definitely seen the cranes with the rope. I definitely seen that. Um, And in the tripped out thing about Saudi Arabia that's tripped out, it doesn't take them um any due process time. Like it doesn't take them months to of a trial by jury or a possible trial or delay, court delays, extensions, none of that. No, no, no. They could take that. That's a year, 2 year. No, 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 no. Right after the incident or crime that committed, they have witnesses. If they find out that you're guilty, the punishment is done right away. They sent out an exit usually before the cranes. I don't know if they do the cranes or they chopping the heads out. I don't know. But I just know before the standard was they had basically executioners that they get paid by the state as a state job pension or whatever, or a state job, a check basically, and their job was basically to be an executioner. They get a phone call or a message. Probably right now they get a phone message or a phone call. Abdul, we need you. We have to report here, this address. Bring your sword. And they, yeah, right there, right then and there, they had they I don't know, have them handcuffed. They put them, and it's his head's rolling in a matter of minutes. That's how they deal with that over there. I mean, and that's why they, crime. They have the least amount of crime. Like their crime levels is probably the lowest on earth. I mean, like so. I mean, I say all of that to say, this country, it kind of supports, those guys, to do those things, so they continue doing it. And the thing is that it's like, I mean, in that story, I just, I hope that that's what happened. He waited, till she got of age or whatever. Boom, But I mean, he married her, and they had children. She finished college. I think she became like a nurse or something, or she finished college and became a professional. Had children. They were married. They still married. Um, and I don't know, man. I just look at it like he probably did do that. He waited till she got 18. It was a happily ever after story. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, you know, I mean, I don't look at it like he just started, soon as she came. It's fucked up. That's some fucked up thinking. But you know, the average person probably like, soon as she came home that first night when she was 15, he started hitting it. Like, I mean, that's I mean, that could have happened. I don't know. I don't know all the details. I never met the guy, you know. And I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. I really wouldn't, but I mean, I'm just saying, I think maybe like the brother said, he waited till she, turned a certain age, and they got married, and it went how it went. That's how I do think that. I don't know. I mean, let's just say he didn't do it. Let's say, you know, she the same night that she came over, he was basically a whole pedo. You know what's fucked up? And this is I'm gonna stop talking about this shit. But even in that scenario, as crazy as all of the other scenarios that I stated, even that scenario is the out of the three bad scenarios, that's the probably only scenario that is the least bad, or the only choice that is, the only logical choice, because it's just one person, and your scenario, and it's like, you need some help and everything, and let's just say maybe you like the guy already, because that's why you was talking to him. He's a security guard at school, whatever. I don't know, man. Like, that's, even if that scenario did happen like that, that was the least of, the scenario. Cause see, it kind of goes into why women shouldn't be why a woman shouldn't necessarily be a whore, and should just be a whore to one man, which is maybe her husband. Why woman basically why one woman should be a whore to one man versus a whore to many. Okay, like, basically, obviously, if that, man takes care of that man is going to take care of that woman, and basically, um for, as long as they marry, um the woman, I don't know, some women probably think it's more exciting maybe to be the whore, but it's you taking a lot of risks. You taking a lot of risks. A lot of whores, they have damaged souls. Their souls are damaged. A lot of porn stars, a lot of whores. You can see it. You can see it on the pictures. You know, um, you can see how, how they look, like they almost look like they have a Marine Corps 1,000-yard stare. Like they soul is just rocked. Like, it's some, the thing is there's a certain spiritual connection that you have with other people. And when you just be all over the place, and you just, you know to a certain degree or another, your soul almost, just, I mean, it gets affected by that. Or if not, I want them to be honestly say, it seems like to a certain extent you become soulless after a while. Like you almost don't even have a soul. You lost your soul to a certain extent. You're like a ghoul or something, or goblin or something. You don't have a soul. It's almost like you don't have it. Like, to a certain extent, like, it I would say it's an extreme way to say it, but I couldn't even argue against it. I really couldn't, because it does seem like maybe possibly they don't even have a soul anymore. And that goes for men and women. Like, I mean, it's just something with it. Like, you having all of those connections, after a while, it just, like, it becomes so routine. It just almost the same just experience over and over with just different people. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, it just, I don't know. It's something with it, but yeah, it just, I don't know. I mean, a lot of, I don't know how women look at things, but it's like having a whole bunch of men, and then them all giving you a certain amount of money or whatever, to just having one man do it. It seems better for the one man, but I don't know. Some women, I guess, want variety or whatever. But I don't know, man. I've been all over the place. I mean, I'm gonna I'm just gonna get off of here. I'm gonna have to change this title to something else. Um, yeah, I don't here. I didn't even necessarily. I think I was gonna talk about something else, but I guess I just centered on the title of the video. But yeah, this was a good conversation. I think I looked up and I peeked out at like 4 or 5 people. Like, damn, that was the most I've ever had. I think. I don't know. I think I had like 8. I think the most. It's sad. um I mean, like I think I saw a live stream with Candace Owens. She had like 30, I think like 27,000 people watching her, or 34,000 people watching her. I'm like, God damn, I can't even get I can't even get 10% of it. I couldn't even get um a third of that. You know what? The tripped out thing is, like, don't believe for a second. See, here's the thing. I'm not dumb. I've been in tech for like over 20 years. I know about IP repeaters. I know about like clip farming. You know, I mean, like, it's, man, that 34,000 that I'm watching, how much of that do I think that is clip farming and um, auto bots, basically bot viewers? Like, I mean, come on, like, I seen people on YouTube do bot viewers. I know whole channels of, like, I know creators that do bot viewers just by looking at the viewer count. And it's always one solid account, like about 22K. And it's like, see, here's the thing. I know 2K engagement versus 2K viewers. Like, see, the reason you can kind of see, as far as YouTubers, if they're bot farming or not. Now, I mean, the case of Candace Owens, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty certain that it is some type of um package, or some type of bot viewers or something like that, to make it seem like it's more viewers. But like, the smaller YouTubers, I can tell, because, okay, like, they not paying for nothing like crazy, like 30,000 viewers, but they'll have like 2,000 viewers. And it's always that amount, about that amount, that's a dead giveaway. And then another way you can see the engagement. And I know, I've been on YouTube, I've been around YouTube enough to know the difference between 2,000 viewer engagement and maybe like 200 viewer engagement. I know what that 200 viewer engagement, and I also know what 2,000 viewer engagement. I've seen a Kevin. I remember a Kevin Samuels live stream, and the chat moved so fast you couldn't even keep up with it. You'd have to be on fucking mushrooms or some shit to keep up with the chat, because it was moving so fast. And that's how you know the person is bought view bots, because the engagement don't match up with the viewers. With 2,000 people in anywhere, I mean, it should be like a goddamn, like, it should be like the fucking chat should look like damn near like it's a party going on or some shit. Because in essence, that's what 2,000 fucking, not saying out of 2,000 viewers, all of them are gonna engage with the chat, but at the very least, probably like at least half or close to half will engage. And it's like, the chat will just not, it'll be just nonstop, just going fast as hell. Like you like looking like lines of code or some shit. Like, and it's like it doesn't like, and you see it doesn't match up with the viewership. The engagement doesn't match up. It's a clear cut case. Person is buying viewer bots. I've been, I've, I've been like experimenting with some shit, but I just, I get bored easily, and I'm just, I'm not really interested. I just, to me, the main thing, I just stopped caring. Like once I stopped caring, I think it just helps a little bit more. But yeah, I just stopped caring. Like I just be on here. Just I got whoever listens to it. I mean, like I just, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't really. I stopped caring about why they don't listen and da, 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 da. I mean, it just I don't know. I don't really care anymore. I really at one point or another I just stopped caring. Um, you know, and that whatever that is, I stopped worrying about it. I mean, but the thing is like, yeah, you know, it's people that buy view bots, and another thing with the bots is crazy thing. You know, it used to be a time like before all of this bots and all of this, like if an artist was selling records or had, like a lot of views as far as people playing their music or whatever, like they would they would have a tour. If when they go on tour, it would be a big tour. Like a lot of people would be trying to get tickets, and they'll sell out. Well, the reason why you have a lot of these artists, the big name artists, they can't sell tickets because their viewers actually is artificial. Um, you take an artist like, for example, they would mention it, Post Malone. He had to basically cancel tour dates because they couldn't sell enough tickets. Well, a lot of the music they created, he's just one example of many. A lot of these basically artists are kind of pushed in a package deal. And part of that package deal is, they gonna have a certain amount of view bots, clip farms and shit. And all of this type of stuff to kind of push them through the media. They'll pay they'll pay the radio stations to play the music and all kinds of stuff that they do, right? Um well, that inorganically pushes the artist through, and this how they even do it to the point of stardom. That's how they, once you hear music on the radio and everybody's hearing it and they actually enjoy it, and then they calling in and request it, like that pushes that particular artist to like a plateau, to a really high plateau, to where that's how they get started. They, somebody leaves a bag of money in a radio station. So the thing is now, it's kind of the same thing. It's like people paying to play, but they paying for YouTube views, Spotify views, streams, and to push people through, and they get a platinum plaque, a million views on YouTube, whatever. Um, and then when it come time to go on a tour date, they like, damn, Kansas City, Missouri. I mean, we only sold 1,200 tickets in a showcase that holds 50,000, and it's like they basically are just, you know, artists that are just manufactured. It's not organic. They don't have an organic audience. When your audience is viewer bots, you know, they're not real. They're not real people. So the people that listen to that music, it might be some people that catch on in a wave and all of that, but those people, they might have even bought ads or, Google fucking AdSense or whatever, and push those videos through ads, and the person didn't even want to watch the shit. He just was too broke to spend $20 a month for no Google ads, or didn't want to buy Google YouTube with no ads. And now he knows that you exist. And it's like, all of this stuff is inorganically pushing these artists to where they appear to be this big old top pop star or artist or whatever. But when it comes down to selling actual ticket sales to um when they go on tour, they don't get the same response as those artificially, pushed music videos on YouTube, and Spotify or whatever. You know, they don't get, because their actual fan base is not real. It's their fan base is lines of code. It's view bots. That's their audience. And they find that out when it comes time to go on tour. Because that's their true audience. And it's like, yeah, that's what's going on nowadays. Like, this shit ain't real. Like, it's like the Matrix. Like, artists, it just, and not really real. So you got very few artists that are organic. You know, like Brent Fayez. It's a kind of singer. He kind of like a singer slash rapper, and he basically, he's underground, but he's popular too, and he doesn't have a record deal. Anytime, and he grew all his fan base off of Spotify, off of YouTube, and he basically, when he goes on tour based off of the audience of, like, who watches his YouTube videos, his music videos. And that's how he based all his tour dates and locations, off of his YouTube analytics, basically, of his music videos. And he basically, even he sets up his own tours himself. He does Eventbrites, and he gets basically ticket sales, most of the ticket sales of his actual tours. Minus whatever he got to pay out of pocket for the venue. He set all of that, he got people to set that all up and pay for that. But he's getting all of the ticket sales, or most of it, if not. And it's like, yeah, man, guys like that, they got a genuine following. I mean, like, I found dude out, like, dude did that song with Gold Link, money all around you, looking like I'm the man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, yeah, I mean, I just didn't hear no music like that. Like, it was some, like, tripped out kind of like spaceship slash, you know, kind of like some kind of tripped out music. Like, they probably was like real high when they made that song, because it's like some shit that was just like some space alien type shit. But like, yeah, it was dope, you know, and nobody had no music like that. It was genuine. And like, what I'm saying, he had more songs and he grew a fan base, and it was very, very organic, and he making money, making a lot of money, and he don't have to worry about his masters and all of that shit. He does not have a record deal. He's basically an independent artist. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like, yeah, man, and that's the best way to do it, if you can. But the thing is like, yeah, I don't know, man. I've been all over the place. I'm gonna get on up out of here. Um, basically like, share, and subscribe.